All eyes once again on this Alpha 7 Kinotrup fight. Kinotrup does not want to give up their ground. They don't.
7 have to continually move forward, squash Mafioso from the distance, Rebel Carrillo being the tip of the spears to push up. This is going to be a tough fight. They already scuffled a bit. Mind you, both teams get back on their feet, all 4 of them, so it's still a 4v4.
They're going to have to get out of there. In the meantime, IDA's crash has not gone well. IDA have lost 1 at least. I think the nades are continuing to pour on through. AXTMG, they have the sideline angle from the east point of their 2-2 hold. They have the north side of the road on the compound, and they have Alpha Gaming, who have those shots down the hill towards the back approach of IDA. It's only 1 player now standing for IDA. It was a Hail Mary. They wasted their time on the south. I think the call should have been roll over Alpha 7, try and move it on in. But as it stands, they're going to have to try and snake it out. In the meantime, Nongshim, they've been slowly. They have been moving through this ground, this terrain, and been vigilant with it. Sure, they've lost a player, but they're on 6 elims. Not too many other players are in their location as well.
And now they run into a full, like you said, Nongshim Red Force, who have been dismantling the left side of the map. AJ from trying to get any additional points that he possibly can. Again, every single point you gain is critical. They're currently sitting at 50, which I believe puts them close to the top 8, if I'm not mistaken. Doc, one of the main damage dealers.
Really important, especially when you're facing off against teams chasing for that bubble. Fortunately for them, Nongshim Red Force, 16 points total before this match started. It's not going to be too much of an impact, you'd hope, to alter those tables towards the top 8 if you get that point sent over the other way. But it does look like AJ's just trying to survive as long as possible. IDA did manage to keep their south side of this one. This is mostly in part to Alpha Gaming rotating in onto the north side up to these rocks, but now they've got a challenge sent their way by Nongshim Red Force, who have moved in from this northwest side, and they are going to the standing stones.
Emery has a beautiful off angle onto Zial up ahead, but AXTMG continues to have their forces dwindled away. Taken down 1 by 1. They're now down to 2. Syrax keeping his head on a swivel. Emery up ahead along with Aaron. And while Emery, again, through the windows, just taking down members not only in AXTMG, but also APG up ahead. Devo T wants to try and renegotiate his position, but really they're just going to stay where they currently are. The next zone is going to shift, and it's going to be quite deadly if AXTMG has to re-rotate. Luckily for them, but this area on the left-hand side is getting quietly contested. You've got Nongshim Red Force who have rolled in. You still have AJ from Thunder Talk, who is getting into an engagement. I think he's down. He is now out. So 3 teams, Nongshim Red Force, APG, IDA, as well as AXTMG, all within the same location. And APG is getting dismantled, and you also have Rebel, who's currently down.
He's been knocked by a solo from Gamax. APG do go down fully as well. IDA picking up a couple of the points there. They're up to 6 elims. That was a really lovely pickup for them. They'll be now on 52 points, plus whatever placements they can find. And they are still on that chase. You can see Alpha 7 on the boundary. Looks like they have managed to clear the threat. Oh, maybe not. Ooh, okay, 2 players going down for Alpha 7 to a solo from Gamax of all teams to be able to take a large chunk out of Alpha 7. But they stay alive. They have 4. They'll have to push in quickly, though.
For what it's worth, you gave him 45 seconds originally, then I said 2 minutes, and then he ended up almost dismantling Alpha 7. He did his part. R8 behind a wall, taking nade after nade. Weibo's been relatively quiet this game, currently sitting at 0 eliminations, but this is the time where they start to wake up. The zones get closer and closer, and 33Z taking down 1 from R8 as they reposition. They're pushing in full steam ahead, and they might be able to take them by surprise. Order just up. Mark needs to be ready to clear the left side of this choke point. Some pre-shots. He pushes up. Pre-nade's going to be out. Actually smokes. This is going to be chaotic.
Oh, a full blind there for Marth, and he can't hold the door frame anymore. Weibo going low as well, though, and into a 1 versus 1. IDA versus 33Z around the corner, and Maxman was right. They start off slow. Weibo go down in 10th.
Weibo out. Maxman looking at his crystal ball, predicting the future. E-Arena, a roster that's very far down in the point standing. Another roster that's at 0, been opposite of intense game for quite some time, hugging the hardcover POI, now maybe forced to go out into the open. That's going to put IG as well as EA into a direct competition. Not going to be easy for them, but E-Arena, they're going to have to move. Intense game also have to go forward. Hora has taken some respite inside of the current zone, but I'm looking at AX AXTMG still at Ida. They look to be the strongest, at least currently, but you also can't forget about Noxium Red Force. Honestly, I think a lot of teams get a piece of the zone where they feel relatively comfortable, but yeah, the IG E-Arena fight, that's going to be a deadly one.
Alpha 7 down to one player in the midst of all that scrapping in Painan. Over on the northeastern side, I didn't quite catch it, but they've lost 3 players down on that south edge. Nasty stuff coming on through. I imagine that would be in Kinotrope on that eastern flank. But Painan needs to conclude now. Intense game, E-Arena. They have to try and scramble their way out over the walls and up to the hills. The Noxium Red Force position on that northwest side looks pretty tasty right now, but they have to extricate themselves from one another to have a shot.
Well, I thought it was going to be IG and E-Arena fighting, but it's Noxium Red Force who's gatekeeping them, taking out one by one of IG, who might not even be able to get their teammate back into play. I think they do it just in the nick of time, but Red Force going to keep their heads down. Petrino knows, look, we've got to take this E-Arena roster out, but it's not going to be easy, as Mormont firing some wonderful shots, drops one. They start to push up, but again, once they get out of this hard cover, Red Force is going to be ready for them.
They are currently 2 players on the overlook there from the high ground. They've left Binny down to control the compound situation. Ora also lighting up the sidelines. Mormont under pressure, but he is able to weather the storm. The nade pin pulled, but has to put it back in, get that first aid going. They can't afford to lose that forward position. Tourniquet moves on in as well. No fear behind the tree. These locations are getting lit up now as Sleepy goes down in the back line for Ora. E-Arena weather the storm. Doxy, though, moving over the top of the hill as TZ moves in too.
Sky, great shots, but forced to hit the ground. E-Arena keeping the pressure up. The car's on fire. Back away. You don't want to take any additional damage or, man, even go down. Joker also on the move. You can't even go too far up this hill. If you do, you're going to be isolated by Kinotrope. But watch out, Kinotrope is going to be coming up behind Hora. Hora needs to be ready for this. They can't be focused too hard on the third party. They move in, and Sleepy's down, and Kinotrope might be able to get a team wipe.
Ida are rubbing their grubby little mitts here on the south side. They might be able to steal